Right, so let's talk a little bit about what is going on across the country. And we've been talking about this for a while, where, you know, for the last, during the entire Biden administration, for the most part, it does appear to many people that our southern border is wide open. You come to the southern border, you get in, you go, you mill about the country. We've got problems here in New York City, a lot of sanctuary cities, a lot of sanctuary states. And one of the places where it has kind of hit the fan finally is Chicago. And you know all about this.
Yeah, so I've been talking with the residents of Chicago for a while. When it was just once my home state of Texas, but Greg Abbott decided, look, if you guys want to be sanctuary, I'm going to bust these migrants to your communities. And it really put a damper on the message of we just want to be loving of all people and everyone come in our community. Well, one resident is upset. She spoke out at the meeting the other day. Multiple, right? Multiple showed up to the city council, and they really let the mayor have it. Let's watch it.
Here you are with another gritty property tax hike, trying to push the have-nots to house your precious illegal immigrants. You told Trump you ain't gonna blink? Well, we ain't either.
You are going down in history as the worst mayor in America.
Typically, I'm here and I'm fussing. I want to say thank you to the city council. Our mayor is embarrassing us, y'all, around the world. And you all took the power back from him to say the city of Chicago is out of the business of funding illegals.
They want the option to get sanctuary cities off the books. They're tired of Chicago doing it. They're tired of seeing the illegal immigrants in their airports, at their police stations, overwhelming the cops who aren't respected. And they're dramatically understaffed. And this mayor thinks he's speaking for the people, the African-American community, by saying that we are not going to cooperate with ICE. We are not going to build distrust between our law enforcement as well as ICE and start turning on our people as if enforcing the law is turning on your people. And these people show up at the city council and go, stop helping me. You want to help me? Sanctuary status, sanctuary city status, make it yesterday's news. Number two, they were all saying positive things about Trump.
Oh, yeah.
I think Trump, I just hope that he understands that people are open to him. And if he goes back now and says, listen, what blocks are the problem? You know, where's the crime? Where's the unrest? Where are the issues? And with Tom Homan, we don't need you. I don't need your vote anymore. I just want to help you guys out. So get the momentum to force this mayor to sober up or kick him out.
Yeah. And the thing is, Chicago is the most debt-addled city in America. While it's number 2 in its city border, second to this Gotham City that we're sitting in right now, it's number 1 when you factor in that those residents have to assume the Illinois debt, too. They're unique in that position. So each resident there is responsible for, per year, over $43,000 of debt. And you add in the liabilities, that's 12% of their income. So what you are asking them to do, which, by the way, they have the highest sales tax of any major metropolitan city in the country, too. So you're telling those residents, your crime is among the highest in the country, your sales tax is the highest, your property tax is among the highest, and you are responsible for the highest amount of debt in the country. But hey, let me prioritize illegal immigrants. Let me prioritize this community that is here illegally over your needs. And let me tell you, by the way, you're not black if you don't vote for the current
then you layer it on the top of, you got the kids that can't read and write within the community. They shut down the schools, say we have no money to fund it. We have zero money to fund these extra schools. And then suddenly, all these illegals come in and they open the school back up for the legals. Okay, then you got the community. They say healthcare is a priority, but they shut down the health center. We go down there, they said, we're going to reopen it, put the illegals there. Then you got criminals already in the city, shootings everywhere. How many times have I done reports? And now the illegal gangs are robbing the gangs that are in Chicago already. So it's a big mess.
So the gangs are fighting the American gang.
That's right.
But just to back up, you did this story. You said there's no money to keep this Boys and Gloves type place open. And the next thing you know, it gets open. Well, where'd you get the money from? Oh, for illegal immigrants. What?
Where did that money come from?
That's why they're upset.
What a kick to the groin that is.
Right.
Well, an hour ago, we talked a little bit about how you will find it on X, how the breakdown is of how much the illegal migrants are costing each and every American. And this year alone, $150 billion, when you look at all the costs and taxes and stuff like that, the cost to Americans is $150 billion. That breaks down to almost a little under $10,000 per illegal migrant in the country today. There are that many. Now, Lawrence, were talking to a woman by the name of P-Rae earlier, right?
And she was fired up. You saw her at that council meeting. She joined us earlier. Watch.
Our main issue is it affects our bottom line. It is very cold in Chicago right now, and there are people all around the city getting up to go make the donuts. We're not going to work to pay for illegals. They chose to come here illegally, and we don't allow people to feast off of their criminality. Our goal is to get this border closed and to get every unnecessary expense off of the budget lines in the city of Chicago. We can't afford it anymore. So what they want to do, what I believe my mayor is doing, is attempting to use the social and political capital of my community to advance the immigrant community. We are America first. I am an 8th generation American, so I'm extremely invested in making this country great, as is everybody else in my community. Please don't racialize this deportation fight. Know that every American is in lockstep with this because we deserve to spend our money in better ways.
Wow, well said. Don't racialize this.
Well,
and if you speak up, oh, wait a second, because you don't, it's something to do with your race. No, in fact, the people that get hurt the most are the ones that have the least.
Exactly right.
They don't put them in the nice areas.
No, we saw what they did in Martha's Vineyard. They were there at least 48 hours, and they were out of there. Meanwhile, they're putting them in every other community. I just think this is an amazing issue, though, because part of the reason why we saw the last election, the coalition of Democrats when it came to minorities, it's shattering right now. They're going to Trump. They're going to the Republican Party, giving it a second shot. Can you imagine voters telling you that this immigration issue is one of the reasons why, and the mayor they're paying absolutely no attention to it? It's like they want to lose. They don't want to compete for those voters anymore. But the voters aren't putting up with it anymore.
Right. And in Chicago, the mayor's message is tone deaf to people like P-Rae right there. However, here in New York City, there's a new sheriff in town. His name is Tom Homan. He's coming into office noon on January 20th. Tom Homan, it sounds like, wants to meet with Mayor Adams. Mayor Adams wants to meet with him. And yesterday, after a spate of crime, the mayor of New York City made it very clear. You come into this country illegally. If you're an illegal migrant, you do something where you break the law, we should send you back. Listen to the mayor.
We're willing to take migrants and asylum seekers that are not criminals and committing crimes. We're willing to take them, but they have to be able to work. So I don't understand why this wasn't clear to the previous administration. Those who are here committing crimes, robberies, shooting at police officers, raping innocent people, have been a harm to our country. I want to sit down and hear the plan on how we're going to address them. Those are the people I am talking about, and I would love to sit down with the Board of Czar and hear his thoughts on how we're going to address those who are harming our citizens. But this is not a new position, because in the state of in the era of cancel culture, no one's afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people of this city.
Mayor Adams is wide open to help out. And by the way, he was the one who was on the Biden train early. And when he started saying, I need some federal funding for all the illegal immigrants that you're letting in, they stopped returning his calls. Yeah. Next thing you know, his phone gets taken on the street by the FBI while he was boarding a plane to go meet with the president with other mayors. So I don't know. He
was a co-chair, and they kicked him off of being a co-chair of the campaign.
Yeah, so he says, I'm not going to be warring with this administration. I'm going to be working with this administration. Good. And that's good. Look, I know it didn't pay him any good to be friends with Biden. It's probably going to be a survival mechanism to be friends with Trump. But also, I do think his instincts was, I have no money to pay for 57,000 people that are here. We've closed 5 shelters in the last 2 weeks, which is relatively good news, but hundreds of thousands are passing through on a daily basis. The buses have stopped, but the illegal immigrants have not. I disagree with him on the other thing. He said, if you can come here as long as you can work. You can't. We can't welcome people here, and we can't get them jobs. It's rewarding bad behavior. Right. It's all linked. If you start giving them jobs, they're going to keep coming.
It's a magnet.
Yeah, I take such issue with all of that as he stood in front of signs that said the lowest subway crime in history, except for the pandemic years that we have inherited. He said subway crime down 15% in November, while Daniel Penny awaits his verdict right now for stepping in where the gap was left by that mayor. He says now he wants to work with the administration. Where was he protecting the citizens for the last 4 years and more? And the thing is, he says he's waiting for Tom Homan to bring solutions. I wish my mayor had brought solutions when all of us were drowning. I sat next to this woman at dinner recently who still bore the scars from her hundreds of stitches after being punched in the face right here in Midtown with a person with glass wrapped around his. She was an elderly woman. That happens all day, every day in this city. And you're telling me just now you want to hear what Tom Homan has to say? What about Laken Riley's murderer that cycled through the Roosevelt Hotel? What about those migrant kids that stabbed that man in Times Square you reported on earlier today? And all the police officers that have borne the brunt of ambushes and crimes at the expense of laughing illegal immigrants baked into the juvenile system so they're purported to be innocent and they're called boys. I mean, I'm sorry. It's too little, too late for Mayor Adams, for the people of New York City and the country.
I'm worried you're going to peak now. You have outnumbered to do later. You better keep some in the quiver. Emily, you are fired
Plenty to go. You know, so
where that came from.
Mayor Adams has the opportunity to follow the footsteps of Mayor Rudy Giuliani. And what Mayor Rudy Giuliani did was he had an emphasis on quality of life crimes. It started out as little stuff. But when you're walking around on the streets of New York City, because of the migrant crime, which is substantial these days, it impacts everybody. And it impacts decisions of, am I going to go to the doctor's office today by myself? Do I feel safe? Am I going to go to the grocery store? You know, the lady down the hall got robbed by those people and they never found him. And the police said, there's nothing we can do. If Mayor Adams turns it around, he could be a great mayor. And maybe he's ready.
So President-elect Trump pushing to fix the border crisis that reportedly cost taxpayers more than $150 billion last year alone. Blue cities like Chicago feeling the pinch as its own mayor vows to keep resisting Trump. But taxpayers, they're just fed up.
Here you are with another gritty property tax hike, trying to push the have-nots to house your precious illegal immigrants. You told Trump you ain't gonna blink? Well, we ain't either.
You are going down in history as the worst mayor in America.
Typically, I'm here and I'm fussing. I want to say thank you to the city council. Our mayor is embarrassing us, y'all, around the world. And you all took the power back from him to say the city of Chicago is out of the business of funding illegals.
You just heard from Chicago resident P-Rae Easley. She was at that city council meeting and she joins us now. So P-Rae, a couple months ago I went to Chicago and I saw a community center, a health center, and some schools that were shut down because of funding. But magically, they were reopened for illegals. Is that why residents are so frustrated right now?
Well, that's a portion of it. Our main issue is it affects our bottom line. It is very cold in Chicago right now, and there are people all around the city getting up to go make the donuts. We're not going to work to pay for illegals. They chose to come here illegally, and we don't allow people to feast off of their criminality.
Yeah, so your mayor had a different thought. This is what he said back in November. Let's watch.
We're going to defend the people of this city. Because, look, his attack, let's be very clear, the president-elect, former President Trump, his threat is not just towards new arrivals and undocumented families. His threats are also against black families.
A threat against black families. How would you respond?
I think it's very disrespectful for him to say that. I am an American Negro woman, and our people are not immigrants. We are migrants, of course, in the very literal sense, because our grandparents came here during the Great Migration. This is why we're really pushing for an end to race. Because when you say black, that can mean anybody. They told us that Kamala was black. And yes, there are black people who will be deported, but that has nothing to do with the American people. Our goal is to get this border closed and to get every unnecessary expense off of the budget lines in the city of Chicago. We can't afford it anymore.
Well, it's a matter of affordability, but then it's just common sense. So our kids can't read and write within our communities. You got people that are living in poverty. So we have real issues in our community, and it seems like They continue to say they can't fix it because of a strain, but yet they find the money magically to fund all these other programs for the migrants, right?
So what they want to do, what I believe my mayor is doing, is attempting to use the social and political capital of my community to advance the immigrant community. And we've been seeing this since the 1800s. Frederick Douglass warned us about this years ago. And so now we're here. We're a much more informed and enlightened people, and we are America first. I am an 8th generation American, so I'm extremely invested in making this country great, as is everybody else in my community. Please don't racialize this deportation fight. Know that every American is in lockstep with this, because we deserve to spend our money in better ways. Christmas is coming. Why should we have to pay extra in taxes?
Yeah, over 50% of the country are for mass deportations. You would think that the mayor would change after such a mandate as the last election. I haven't seen people in Chicago so fired up until this issue right here. I think it's going to be a game changer. P-Rae, thanks so much for joining the program.
Thank you for having me this morning.
You got it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.